patch notes. We're going to start with patch notes today. This is patch 1.9. This comes out October 14th. That is Tuesday. 1.9. If you guys saw the dev stream, you guys kind of know what's up. Bale, the new champ. And we'll be going over the specifics today. There's a lot of words and numbers in here. I will be paraphrasing some stuff. I'll be using some layman's terms just to, again, just make sure everyone kind of understands. The numbers themselves matter a lot less than your understanding of what the numbers mean. Bale, I uploaded a Bale gameplay this morning as of recording, so you guys can go watch that. I got him in an ARAM. Kit's pretty cool. I like the kit, the way that it feels. I like the way that it plays. Cool character. Augments, store news. He has this werewolf skin. Epic. Frankensteel. This is from Overprime. Cool skin. Epic skin. Epic. There's no legendary, right? Oh, I guess, okay, well, I guess Narbash skin is coming back. Is that it? Yeah, this is the only legendary Halloween skin. Just the one. All the skins from last year are back. Halloween moment. Is there a big Halloween bundle? There is a big Halloween bundle. Get in there, fellas. ARAM is here. If you guys are unfamiliar with ARAMs, it stands for all random, all mid. It's a one-lane map. You get a random hero, and you run it down. That's pretty much it. It's nothing insane. It's a fun casual game mode. It's like, I guess I would call it my preferred casual game mode. Like, I would probably play this over Brawl. Good game mode. Enjoyable. 15-minute games, so they're quick. Let's see. Vault passes. So this is going to be about the old battle passes. Tempest of Shadows is that battle passes will no longer expire. Once you purchase a pass, it's yours to complete at your own pace, so you won't lose battle passes when they end now. You'll continue being able to finish them, which is quite epic. Let's see. Can you purchase old ones? Past battle passes are also making a return. There you go. So this is a good change. This is just like, if you buy the battle pass, you're going to get the shit now. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a lot less FOMO, a lot more buy the pass. Which is a good change. Legacy map is back in custom games. If you're queuing customs, you can play Legacy now. Very cool. I mean, they've got the map, you know, might as well make it playable somewhere, I guess. Ranked comes to South America. A lot of people have been asking for this. We'll see what this means for the future. Do we get ranked on like Asia servers, OCE? Good question. Is there enough players in those regions to play ranked? I don't have the numbers. My guess is, at least in like SEA, no, would be my guess. I don't know how the game's doing in Asia. I have no way to know how the game is doing in Asia, but I don't know. We'll see if we get more. But this is just like a ranked test for South America, so good for them. Loot core changes. This was talked about in the 1.18.3 patch notes. They talked about this at the very end. They're changing a little bit of the way that loot boxes work. Now you're guaranteed, you gain 300 opals every 8 quantum cores, but you no longer have a chance to like randomly get 100 opals out of a quantum core in addition to something. Also, you no longer can get platinum from cores. You can't get plat from the cores anymore. You just get things, not money. I don't really, again, I feel like this isn't like a ginormous change, but like, I don't know. I don't really have a feeling one way or the other. Yo, Jedi with the 31-month tier 3 sub. I appreciate it, Jedi. Welcome back to the pin zone, dude. Appreciate it. let's see. Shadow's Eve mini battle pass. This is a little mini battle pass. Gives you sprays, emotes, cores, amber, opal, and a purple variant of the Spider Witch Bellica. Okay. Cool. Little mini battle pass. Get some free shit. Yo, Vincent with the 6-monther, dude. Welcome back to the Pin Zone, Vincent. Appreciate it. Major game rebalancing. So this is the main pull of 1.9. This is, again, so anytime you guys want to pause and read, go for it. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, go ahead and pause and read. I will be breaking this down for you guys. I lost the correct word. Basically, their goal is to slow down the game a little bit, but mostly just make it so that laning phase matters more, and you can't just kind of pig out running around the map and and get away with it and that kind of stuff, right? So you actually have to learn to play your lane properly, and if you lose your lane, there's consequences to that, and if you win your lane, there's bonuses to that, right? Like they're basically incentivizing laning. We'll get into the exact changes in a second. Just my thoughts on the subject for a moment. Is it a good change? Yes, I've played the patch. It is a good change. It is a good step in the right direction. Does this completely fix the game? No. It helps a lot, but there's still one very large lingering issue that exists within Pred that makes changes like this matter, but not quite as much as they could. The map, right? The map blows. They know that. Until we get a new map, these are good changes, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of a band-aid fix because the map is what allows you to fucking just run around as support or mid, or, you're O2 and off lane, you just walk duo, that kind of shit, right? The map is what allows that. And if the map was changed, these changes would be less necessary. But on the current map, these changes are kind of necessary because it makes the game, like the first 10 minutes of the game actually matter. Does the map just need to be bigger? Primarily bigger, yes. It just needs to be spread out a little more. Like jungle is really close to every lane. Supports can just do whatever they want. This will curb the support thing a lot, but the junglers being fucking 2 seconds from every lane, this will not change, right? So again, you guys can stop and read these if you guys wish. Basically, all the characters will move a little bit slower, but they made a fantastic change that is basically the rate at which you can move. So the speed at which you can stop moving and start moving again, specifically when strafing, has been increased. So your strafing is a little snappier, which feels really, really, really good. You guys, it's hard to explain. I don't know if that was the greatest explanation of that, but it's hard to explain. But once you guys get into the game on 1.9, you guys will understand. You guys will be able to feel it. Really good change to movement. You won't really notice the fact that your hero is a little bit slower. You won't really notice that. What else are the big changes in here? Basic attack penalty increased by 5%. The slow that you incur when you are auto-attacking is increased by 5%. Good change. A lot of projectiles are slightly slowed down. Not hugely, but slightly slowed down. That combined with the snappier movement will make it a little bit harder to hit people who are juking. Minions are a little bit tankier, especially early game. You will notice that they are a little bit harder to kill, especially on wave like 1, 2, 3 before you have your 3 abilities. They are harder to kill. This is to incentivize trading in lane. CC got a bit of a nerf on the patch. Crowd control durations go down a little bit. The way that you gain base stats as you level up has been changed So basically, you will gain less base stats early game and more base stats late game. So like level 18, you will have the same base stats, you'll have the same HP, but like level 6, you'll have less HP than you would on 1.8, right? Which is, again, every hero gains a little bit of attack speed, but most heroes lose a little bit of scaling on their autos, so you can attack a little faster, but you have less scaling, so late game it matters less, but early game it matters more, because you have more attack speed, so you can trade more in lane. Early game kill pressure is up a little bit. Health pots are slightly nerfed. I still think health pots need drastically looked at. I think they should be either taken away or you have to pay for them. The fact that you get 2 free health pots every base, kind of gross, stops a lot of early game pressure. But you still have a lot more early game kill pressure now than you, or in 1.9 than you do now. So I'm trying to think, did I miss anything? I think I got all of the big ones. Gold drip, the passive gold that you get within the game, decreased. When you miss last hits, you get less gold now than you did before. So right now, I think you get 20% if you miss a last hit, and it's going down to like 10. It's being cut in half, I think. So if you're missing last hits, you will eventually get behind. Whereas right now, it just matters much, much less. Let's see. What else did they change? What else did I miss? Things like comeback XP is a big one. If you're down right now, if you're down like 2 levels in Pred, you just get Giga XP. You get like 60% increased XP. That's going significantly down. So if you're behind, you will stay behind. If you're ahead, you'll stay ahead a little bit better. Tower damage change. Tower damage change does not matter that much. People are significantly blowing out the tower damage change, like out of proportion. Dude, what they changed was the ramping, the amount of damage that it ramps. Like, if you're 1 HP and someone dives you and eats 1 tower shot, like, they're not going to get 1 shot now. You know what I mean? Like, the tower change only matters if they're eating, like, 5 tower shots. I feel like tower damage shouldn't have a cap. I agree with you, Wolf. I also think tower damage should not have a cap, but in this game, it has a cap. But you have to keep in mind, tower, like in Smite, right? Tower damage doesn't have a cap in Smite, but towers also do significantly less damage in Smite, especially like late game. Like you could tank fucking 25 tower shots before you die in a tower in Smite. In this game, even if you're a full tank, I don't know, you're tanking 10 max. You're there to protect towers. They're not there to protect you. I mean, I somewhat agree, Haru. But when I have a 7,000 HP tank walking into my tower, I wish the tower damage would cap a little higher than 400. You know what I mean? Let's see. Did I miss anything else? Yeah, plates are a little easier to take, and they last a little longer. So you can get a little more gold for sitting in lane. I think I pretty much got everything. This is the other thing. Boss monsters respawn slower. So like Fang and Shaper both have longer respawn timers. So a little less objectives to have on the map at all times. General balance changes. So this is what I was talking about. So basically, you gain less stats by leveling up early game, and you gain more stats by leveling up late game. So at level 18, you have the same amount of base stats, right? You have the same HP, but you gain that HP slower. So you're squishier early game. Kill bounty gold. Bounty gold goes down a little bit. This is basically if you have a big lead, if you're like 5-0, and then you get 3-man ganked, and the enemy laner that's 0-5 gets the kill, they're not like even with you now, right? This does even out, right? So like 10 kills, this is still 1,000 gold. But if you're like 3-0, like you'll get a little bit less. Kill XP. little bit less kill XP as well. Again, sitting on like these 3-0, 4-0 kills, you'll get a little bit less XP. Kill bounty XP. So basically, the way that this works is if you're like 5 levels down, if you're like level 10 and you kill somebody who's level 15, you get fucking Giga XP for it, which mostly makes sense. They're just changing it a little bit for like when you're, like 2 levels down. You won't get fucking 3 levels off of getting a kill. Comeback XP as well. Again, if you're 2 levels down, you're not going to get fucking 10,000 XP. You'll get a little bit of extra, but not an insane amount. Ambient gold. So this is basically when a bunch of heroes are near each other. If you have 3 people standing in mid, the person who last hits the minion gets the minion gold, and then everyone else around you gets X% of a last hit. Right now, that's like 20%, right? If you're alone in a lane and you don't last hit a minion, you get like 20%. That's going to go down to 10. So you're getting half the gold that you would have got before for not last hitting a minion. The difference on a melee minion level 1 between previous patch and this patch is like 2 gold, right? But over time, it adds up if you're missing a lot of last hits. Gold drip goes down as well. Very cool. The gold drip change combined with this will make it so if you are bad at CSing, you will notice a gold differential. Hero movement, again, this is what we talked about earlier, right? So all heroes lost movement speed, but they accelerate and break faster. So this will make your movement feel snappier, which is very good. You will not really notice this move speed loss very much because of these changes. Basic attack penalty increased by 5% for ranged and melees, and now they increased this. I'm not totally sold on this change. Right now when you miss a melee auto, you get a significantly less auto attack penalty than when you hit with a melee auto. This is being changed so that when you're autoing on melees, period, you get that penalty. It doesn't matter if you're hitting or you're missing, you are getting a 30% penalty. It's noticeable. You will feel this even if you didn't know that missing autos on a melee character gave you less of a penalty. You will know. You will know now that when you are autoing, you are autoing. This is the only one that I don't really like. When melee heroes miss, I don't think they should have full penalty. It's really, really awkward to try and chase somebody. But it is what it is. Again, like in Smite, if you miss melee autos, you get a 5% penalty. In this game, it was already 10. Now it's 30. A little awkward, but now you actually just have to pay attention to when you're in range of somebody before you press left click. Minions, bunch of number changes here. All you really need to know, minions are a little bit tankier now, and I believe they give a little bit more gold overall. Like, yeah, they do. So, like, gold changed, a little more gold level 1, a little more gold level 1. Cannons, also more gold. It's good change. It makes the level 1, level 2 laning phase matter. There are a couple of characters that this buffs, actually. There are a couple of characters that are fairly drastically affected by this. Characters like Kira, who have no wave clear, felt pretty bad to play. I don't know if she got buffs on this patch, but on test server, it felt kind of bad because you are playing a 0 wave clear champ into minions that are now tankier. Which is a little funny. It's a little funky. Some characters that have really good wave clear get a little buffed by this. Characters like Argus, because they can just out clear and then you can fight. But you'll notice this, especially on the first couple waves before you hit like level 3 and you get all your abilities. You'll notice that the minions are tankier. But what this does, the idea behind this is basically like, because the minions are tankier, it takes two rounds of abilities to kill the wave, at least, right in mid, at least. And if the enemy hero uses their ability on the wave and you hit them, they can't insta-clear the wave, and then just you're stuck under tower farming, right? You still have a chance to hit them with an ability, maybe hit them with an auto or two, and then you can go back to clearing the wave, and you're good to go, right? And you're not instantly out-cleared and sitting under your tower. It's a good change. It incentivizes trading. That paired with the fact that heroes do a little bit more damage early game and are a little bit squishier early game, makes it so that you actually have kill potential early game, especially in mid, where you had zero kill pressure early game before. Moving on, Hunt, it basically is getting a change because of the way that gold works. Like, because junglers are limited on the amount of gold they can gain, right? Junglers get they can't farm lane minions because they get reduced gold if they kill too many lane minions. And so they can only farm their jungle. Because the gold drip is being lowered, junglers will get extra gold when they kill camps, because it evens out the gold on the map, right? Lane minions are worth a little bit more, and the gold drip is reduced. So for junglers to keep up, they get a little bit of extra gold when they kill their jungle minions. Shaper. So this is getting into the OBJs. Respawn timer increased by 45 seconds. You guys will notice this, right? This was a 5-minute respawn before. Now it's 6. It's a decent change. Less gold, less XP from all of the objectives. This is going to go down on all of them. And then Fangtooth, same thing, right? Plus 15 seconds on the respawn. Again, you guys will notice this. This was 4.5. Now it's almost 5. For the most part, a side note, objectives are getting a little bit easier to kill early game, but they do a little bit more damage. So if you are committed to pulling them and killing them, you will be able to kill them a little faster. But you won't, they will do a little bit more damage back to you. That goes for all of these. They'll do a tiny bit more damage, but they're a little bit easier to kill. Primal, same change as Fang, where it goes up to 445 on its respawn timer. Less global XP, does a little bit more damage, has a tiny bit less HP. Cool. Mini Prime, again, goes up to 6-minute respawn. So now you can get 2 Mini Primes, just much more difficult, right? If you pull the first one at, 10 minutes or 8 minutes, you're almost never getting a third one now. So I think it makes more of a team fight instead of Boris soloing the objective. A little bit Swayze. Characters like Boris and Yin are still going to be able to just solo objectives, right? It's not like that's not that crazy. They're not increasing the damage of these objectives that much, right? But yes, it will incentivize fighting. Again, they're worth a little less, so even if you have to give up, a Shaper or a Primal, you're giving a little bit less. So, Big Prime, also a 6-minute respawn now. This further increases the difference between objectives, right? So Fangtooth is on a 445 respawn, so there's a 1:15 difference between the objectives. So if you get Prime and then you get Fangtooth, you're going to have like a full minute between Prime and Fang respawn the next time they come up, which gives more time to the defenders to try and even out the game. Otherwise, you're staggering your buffs pretty decently. All right. This is jungle changes. All the jungle minions are worth like 5 less gold. Again, because you're getting extra gold on Hunt, this is just to even it out. Towers. So damage ramp shot cap from 3 to 4. Armor pen decreased. Again, I am of the mindset that towers should not have a damage cap. If I'm tanking 20 tower shots, I should be taking, the 20x damage ramp personally, is my opinion. But here we are. Tower plating lasts until 13 minutes now. You get a full extra minute on tower plating, 2 more minion waves. Good change. Lets you sit in lane, lets you get more gold. Tower damage on your tier 1 towers are going up quite a bit. Saying your inhibs and your tier 2s are going up. Not quite as big of a jump as the tier 1s, but also getting more damage on towers. Keep in mind they do ramp a little higher as well. So this doesn't look crazy, right? Plus 5 damage, you know, like level 1, but because they ramp a little higher, it'll matter a little bit more. Regenerator. So because laning phase is getting slowed down a little bit, Regenerator's getting a nerf. It needs it. Otherwise, it'd be a little bit OP in laning phase. You would just kind of take this on everybody. Heroes. Again, so there's going to be a lot of number changes in these heroes because it's going to... I do these show... yeah. So like this... It's going to show, these are general changes, right? These are happening to basically every hero in the game. They're losing some move speed. They're losing some attack speed growth. They're gaining base attack speed, and they're gaining physical power growth. This is happening to every champ in the game, right? And that's what this is saying. So I'm going to skip those numbers when we're going through, because otherwise we're going to be here for 10 hours, bro. But yeah, so basically it's... You can pause and read the wordings on this, but basically you get more physical power growth because they just give you more fizz power. A lot of items lost some fizz power as well, so this kind of makes up for that. Attack speed increased. This feels really good to attack faster in this game. It always feels good to attack faster in this game. Level 1, this matters a lot because more attack speed equals more DPS level 1. When you only have one ability, but because you gain more attack speed level 1, characters are losing attack speed so that like at level 18, you basically have the same attack speed now as you do on 1.9, right? The move speed, again, we talked about this. Yes, your move speed's going down. Your movement will feel much snappier. It will feel much better. You won't really notice the loss of move speed because of how much better the movement itself feels. So getting into it, Acheron. Oh, this is the other thing that I'll be skipping for most heroes. Almost every hero lost like 5% scaling on their autos. You're getting more base physical power. They're taking a little bit off of your thing. This is fine because basically like the idea is that because you have more base physical power, level 1, your autos are still doing the same thing. And then late game, they'll do like pretty much the same. It'll be very, very close because you're getting more physical power growth. You won't notice this 5% loss quite as much. But it allows them to increase the attack speed level 1, which feels really good. So yeah, I'll be skipping this also for most heroes. Moving into Acheron, his Q, a little bit of a damage per hit decrease. Only a little bit. Weblash gets a damage decrease to both versions of it. So if you're double hitting people with this, you'll notice a fairly big damage drop off. Crushing Maw, his right click gets a change here. It gets less damage, less scaling. So they're just kind of trying to tune him down. I don't know if this is targeted at AP Acheron, right? Like Fizz Acheron is something that people have been trying to play. It doesn't look quite as good as Magical in my opinion. But like the base damage nerf to the Q plus a little bit of a scaling nerf on the right click, like it's just an overall nerf to Acheron. It's not that insane, like realistically, not that crazy of a nerf. Character will probably still be solid. Argosy. This character is, dude, I love this character. Low-key, so right now on 1.8, right, Argus is low-key like a top 3 mid. This character is broken, and nobody fucking plays him, which is insane. Dread Nova. So this is our first look at the projectile changes. So projectile speed decreased by 15%, gravity increased. So you guys will have to relearn how to throw projectiles in this game, because almost every not all of them, but a lot of the projectiles in the game are getting changes like this. They are slowing down, and a lot of them are gaining some gravity, so you can't throw them quite as far. But you have to relearn how far you can throw these, when to throw them, how slow they are. They are much more dodgeable. These are good changes combined with the movement ability, the movement changes. It will be a little bit easier to dodge abilities now. And this is just the first peek at the projectile changes. Argus Particle Shredder gets a nerf, like late game, right? Bit of a 4 damage per shot nerf. You won't notice this a crazy amount, but it does matter. Oh, this is another really good change. So Argus Ultimate now gains shots per rank. So rank 1, level 6, 3 shots. Level 11, rank 2, 4 shots. Level 16, 5 shots. So they're making Argus like a bit of a scaling character. Like late game, this character is pretty gross. Projectile speed decrease. This is another projectile that's getting slowed down. You will have to relearn how to aim Argus Ultimate. It's also a little bit smaller. It does less damage, right? But keep in mind, so like the damage basically the same level 1, right? But keep in mind, because it does less damage, you get an extra shot. It's doing more damage if you're hitting all your shots. But again, you guys will have to relearn how to aim abilities on this patch. It will take a little bit of getting used to. Aurora, again, same base stat changes here. Her passive does get a buff, right? So she gets the Decker treatment, where now whenever she hard CCs somebody, her double jump goes down in cooldown. I don't know why this says increased. I'm pretty sure this is new on this patch. Pretty sure this is new. Let's see what else is in here. Can now be cast in the air while on normal or quick cast. So right now you can only cast her E in the air if you're on instant, I believe. Now you can do it anyway. Her right click will now only slow on the initial hit and no longer slows on the second hit. A little bit of a cooldown increase, but it does a little more damage. Also explodes a little bit slower. So a little bit of a less slow, but keep in mind, this is a huge buff, right? Every time you hard CC with somebody, you get your passive back faster. It's really good. Boris, a little bit less attack speed, or a little bit more attack speed on his passive. Keep in mind, you get a little more attack speed level 1 as well. So character will be swinging early game. Tesseract device, this is his passive. Does a little less damage. Very epic. Roar, less damage. You'll notice like 20 base damage gets taken off of a lot of abilities. His dash gets a little bit of a base damage increase, but a scaling nerf. Very cool. Character's probably still good. I'm not sure. Again, so we tested this patch quite a bit. I've probably played like 12 or 14 games maybe on 1.9 testing these changes. And I don't really know like what the meta is going to be. I don't know what's going to be best. I don't know if like these, lifesteal building junglers that can solo every objective. I don't know if these are still going to be the best. I don't know if that's going to change or not. So we'll have to figure out the meta as we go, guys, because I do not know yet. Countess. Her shadow slip gets slowed down a little bit. So her Q is just it's just a little bit slower on like how fast it comes out, basically, which is a good change. But it's also a little bigger. Magical scaling on Eventide goes down, gets a little smaller. You actually got to fucking hit people with this ability now. It's ginormous right now. Yeah, this is a good bug fix. I don't know if this also... So right now, Countess ult, if you use it on somebody who you can't hit, it just doesn't go on cooldown. It will just start the ability and not go on cooldown. So like if you pre-cleanse Countess ultimate, it will just straight up not go on cooldown. Or if you stasis and Countess ults you while you're stasis, it also just won't go on cooldown. I don't know if this is targeting those issues as well. I don't know if this is very specifically against a spell shielded target, or if this is against like what would be technically an untargetable enemy for Countess ult. I'm curious if it hits all of those issues. Crunch, a little bit less damage on his passive, very cool. Left crunch, this is his Q. Less damage all around. Less base damage, less scaling. Right crunch, this is his E. Less scaling. Forward crunch, less damage. Shorter cooldown though. Now blocks movement midway through the dash windup to increase the feedback and feel of dashing. Don't know what that means. I'll be honest, didn't play Crunch. Rug. Let me know how Crunch Dash feels on Tuesday. Decker. What are we doing to Decker? Okay, we're base damage, nerf late game. Buffed level 1, nerfed late game. More scaling, though. Decker mid coming back. Holy. Oh, yeah, this is a big change. So Cage actually gets a big change here. The Cage is significantly slower to spawn in the world, and it also shows a visual of where the Cage will be before it spawns. You can see a big AoE on the ground where the Cage is going to be before it spawns. So you know whether you're inside of it, whether you're outside of it, and then it has a much slower delay when it's spawning. So you can kind of react to Cage now. Stasis Bomb, stun duration changed to 1.5. Projectile gravity increased. And then bounciness also increased. So your Decker lineups are going to change a little bit as far as this ability goes. Because the gravity is a little higher, it'll drop a little faster. It's a little bouncier, so you can maybe get some cooler shit off of walls or the ground. I've been told that this feels really good. I did not play Decker firsthand. Stun duration on the ultimate goes down a little bit. Again, this is just this change to her bomb and her ult. This is just like CC. A lot of CC in this game got reduced a little bit. This is kind of your first look at it. Drongo. Gag grenade. Explosion radius decreased. It now explodes and silences on impact when thrown at enemy heroes. So if you hit someone with this straight up, if you just dome them with this, it will hit them. Right? It will explode there. It won't explode on the ground. It'll explode on the enemy. Rad rounds, base damage nerf, but scaling increase. Boomerang, less damage. Shrapnel cannon, also less damage, less scaling. This character's actually pretty good right now, so don't mind the nerfs. Feng Mao. He gets less passive power from his Q. Awesome. Hamstring, less damage late game, less scaling, but it does more to ISO targets. So basically, if you're able to ISO somebody, you will be doing more damage. If you don't have somebody ISO'd, you will be doing less damage. Do they say, is this just a shot at offlane Feng Mao? Not really. But also big bug fix for Feng Mao. ISO damage is now considered proc damage and no longer triggers Infernum and Mutilator's effects. So right now, if you have someone isolated and you click your Feng Mao hamstring, it will proc Mutilator 4 times. Right. It will straight up proc Mutilator 4 times, minus 10% of your HP. It's pretty broken, and it kind of forces you to buy Mutilator on Feng Mao because it's broken. So that's going away, unfortunately. And now you will only get 2 procs of Mutilator on Feng Mao E. It does open up his build paths a little bit, but it was a big bug that let you win offlane for free. Actually win anytime you played against a tank, you're playing against an Overlord builder, you slam Muti first item, you just win. Kind of gross. Dash, a little less damage on the dash. Ultimates, damage decreased. Very cool. Gadgetito. Automatically becomes empowered when Gadget attaches Sticky Mine to herself or allies. This is a quality of life change. Because, like, to empower a Gadget hat, you have to auto-attack the target. And if you threw it and it ended up on one of your allies, you couldn't auto-attack it to empower it. It's a kind of quality of life. Cast time increased. Very cool. Security Gate. More damage on this, but less move speed, less root duration. Cast time. Now it actually has a cast time, right? This is an ability that literally doesn't have one. Also a little less lifetime. So a little bit more damage, but a little bit less safety. Hero follow speed decreased by 15%. Oh, now my right click won't chase them across the map. Gadget ult gets a damage buff level 1. Late game, this will be pretty similar. 10% scaling is not too bad. Gideon. This is a good change to Gideon passive. So now if you miss, so when you hit an ability on Gideon, right now you get 3 seconds to land an auto attack that will apply your passive. Right now in 1.9, it's changed so that when you hit an ability, you get 1 auto. And if you hit it, you apply your passive. If you miss it, you have to hit another ability to get your passive back again, which is a good change. No more Gideon throw missing 4 autos and then hitting me and getting a root anyway. Now he has to hit the auto, which is a good change. Cosmic Rift is Q, so the range on this gets decreased back to like auto attack range, but the damage goes up. Very epic. Torn Space, this is a good change as well. This now gains the teleport range increases with ability level. So late game, this will actually be a little bit further than it currently is, but early game, it will be significantly shorter. Means that Gideon is a less of a just permanently safe character in mid lane. Damage increase on right click, damage increase on his ultimate. Very cool. Greystone. Now consumes the empowered basic attack, even if he misses. Good change. Good change. I'm tired of people missing their fucking autos and getting rewarded for it. So now if you press Greystone E and you miss, you will not be able to hit them with it after that. No change to his right click speed? No, there's not a change to Gideon right clicks. Not on the speed. Assault the gates. This is Greystone jump. Jump speed decreased. A little bit slower, a little bit more reactable. Cooldown decreased, damage decreased. Very awesome. Grim.exe. Pulse Fire, his passive, loses a little bit of damage. Displacement Blast. So this one is getting smaller. And it's getting its explosion radius decreased. So it's gaining, it's gaining 5 base damage, right? It's gaining a tiny bit of damage, but you actually have to aim this ability now. It doesn't hit 90% of the lane. You actually have to put this on top of people for it to hit people, which is a good change. No longer undodgeable Grim Q. True. Projectile speed decreased on GTFO as well, which is funny. This ability looks a little goofy when it's flying through the air now because it's so slow, but it is funny. Grux bonus. That's his autos. I thought that was his right click. Damage on his dash decreased. Very cool. Howitzer. Combat thrusters. This is his augment. So how he ult is going to get a change here that will make this make more sense, but he's losing move speed on his ultimate augment. So that'll make sense when we go over the ultimate. R2000 gains some damage here, gains some damage here, loses some direct damage. Direct hit radius increased though. So it'll be a little bit easier to direct hit people, but you'll be rewarded slightly less. But also the full explosion radius a little bit decreased. His mines, his right click, get a bit of a damage decrease. This ability is quite good. No, this is his boop. I thought they decreased this. This must have been changed. These were not in the patch notes that I read. Slow duration decreased. Make it rain. So his ultimate gets a change here. So they're making it slower. So his ultimate now will take place over 4 barrages instead of 3. He will shoot 4 of missiles instead of 3 of them. To compensate for this, you can see base damage is going fucking giga up, 200 base damage on this late game. But total magical power scaling, pretty similar. So like these are the exact changes. So you lose like 1 damage a missile late game, but because there's a whole extra barrage, it's like this goes way up. Magical power scaling is down a little bit per missile, but like because there's so many more missiles, this is still like a pretty fucking high ability. Projectile speed also goes down, so you can actually kind of juke this ability now. But you get to stay in the air for 4 seconds. Like this ability is pretty good if you don't get CC'd out of it. But if you do get CC'd out of it, you're actually losing more value now than you were before. So it's a funky change. It'll take a little bit of getting used to, but I think this character is pretty good. Iggy and Scorch. Passive bug fix, very cool. Now does the correct amount of damage. Oil spill, slow, decreased a little bit. Molotov gains a bunch of damage here. Does more base damage, more scaling, but it has less speed, less gravity. You can kind of toss this. It's a little bit funky. This is another one that you'll have to get used to. And then his ult gets a pretty big damage increase as well. Yeah, pretty much seismic. Pretty much, man. Kalari. So this is one of the changes that we'll go over. Air control increased. Air control increased. Kalari feels really good. I played one Kalari game on testing, and it feels really good. Like just the way that she moves, this combined with like the strafing change, feels really good. You feel like you can actually move properly. They bug fixed some of the ways. So there's a bunch of ways right now that you can reset your double jump in midair, and those are pretty much gone now. Yeah, it no longer locks you in a movement direction. Now you can move more freely in the air. This just kind of goes with the air control changes. So you just feel more fluid when playing this character. You feel more fluid. Her secondary, this is Shadow Dancer E, a little bit less damage. Crippling Dagger, a little bit less damage, a little bit slower projectile. Very cool. Chimera gets less move speed from his passive. You also need more stacks to gain the move speed. Awesome. His right click, his jump does a little bit less damage. Very cool. Kira. What the heck did I just click? Dusk, her Q, bonus physical power scaling per stack decreased. A little bit less execute damage on her Q. Right click damage goes down a little bit if you're maxing it. Her ult gets a little bit more damage, but it also gets this. This is huge. The fact that they are dipping into this makes me so happy. I've been saying this for a long time. Kira ult now applies anti-heal to the people that are getting hit by it. I've been saying this for a long time that they should. There are certain abilities in this game, and they did it with some augments, right? They did like Greystone augment. But there are certain abilities in this game that it should apply anti-heal, and now they're doing it. Kira ult now applies anti-heal. Tainted rounds, obviously still a good item. Might be building it anyway, but your ult will just freely anti-heal people, which is very good. Very good early game. Still be good late game. Quang, Judgment of the Heavens. This is his tether. Little bit less tether duration. Oh, this is kind of a goofy. Look at this. Look at this. Oopsies, formatting error. His Q does a little less damage, less tether duration. His right click also does less damage, less shielding. Very cool. Bellica. Seismic Assault, more damage. Void Drone, less damage. Void Bomb. So the bomb on Bellica is getting larger, but slower. So this one's pretty noticeable. But overall, this doesn't matter quite as much as you'd think it would. You're a lot of the time you're just bombing off of your stun combo. Like the amount of free bombs that you're hitting, like in laning phase. In team fights, you're hitting free bombs, but like because it's bigger, that'll still be fairly easy in team fights. In laning phase, you're not free bombing a crazy amount. So this won't matter a crazy amount. But on the wave, this feels really good to have it be a little bit bigger, even though it's a little slower. You're kind of okay with it. So change to Bell Bomb. You guys will get used to it. Morigesh or Hive, less damage, less explosion radius. You actually got to hit people with this now. Morn gets a cool change here. Morn Q Contagion now applies to monsters. So this will hit jungle minions. Morn Q will now hit jungle minions. There's a bunch of number changes in here. Basically, the damage on this ability is very, very similar to what it was before. The healing is very, very similar to what it was before. It just ticks faster. It ticks 7 times instead of 3 times. They just changed the way that it ticks a little bit, but it also now hits jungle minions. So Morn Jungle can finally max Q and be a real character. So Jungle Morn incoming. Beguile, a little bit less damage, less maximum mez duration. Self-slow increased also, just you will move a little slower trying to get these mezzes on people. More in right click is hook, a little bit less slow duration, a little bit less damage. Q, same duration. It's same duration. It ticks instantly, Sai. It ticks on application. So it's this. It ticks on application rather than waiting a full second to tick. So overall, you're getting one extra primal tick, I think, Sai. I think you get one extra tick of primal. Where did we... Murdoch. Murdoch passive, bit of a buff, very cool. Static trap, less damage, less root duration, but it also activates a little faster. Very awesome. Decaying move speed on his hot pursuit goes down a little bit. This was another one. This was a bug fix. This is on live right now. I've noticed this a couple of times. Murdoch ult doesn't have a vertical hitbox right now. Like, it's really skinny. So you can basically just jump over this ability, which is really funny. And that will be fixed. Muriel. Serenity, her Q. Less base damage. They also just straight up removed the damage amp that this gives. Less slow duration, slower projectile, and it's smaller. Like a pretty big all-around nerf to Muriel Q. They do give her more shielding on her E. Also more scaling on the shield, so late game it's bigger. A little bit of a longer cooldown. You won't notice this too much once it's rank 5. Move speed on right click also decreased. Norbash. Move speed on March decreased a little bit again, so they're tuning down move speed, so they're getting rid of a lot of, or they're tuning down a lot of these, you know, move speed buffs that heroes give, right? Because they're tuning down move speed. Song of My People healing increased a little bit, level 1, awesome. Thunk. So Thunk is now Terra Axe. That's the best way to think of this. The way that this ability throws now is very similar to Terra Axe. I believe it's not quite as far, like maximum distance is not quite as far as Terra Axe, but they slowed it down. They made it a lobbed projectile. So if you're like in, you know, auto attack range of somebody, it's pretty much the same. It'll be pretty straight. But like at the end of auto attack range, it starts to fall off. So it'll go straight and then it'll dive down. So you can throw it up and then it'll arc, right? Or if you're close to somebody, you throw it straight and it'll dive down. Funky. It looks very odd. You guys will have to get used to it. But just, again, projectile speed decreased. It's just part of this patch. Projectiles are just trying to make them easier to dodge. Phase. Her Q, a little less damage, a little less blind duration. Good. This ability is cancerous. Energy Lance, little less damage, a little less root duration. Awesome. Why nerf Muriel across the board? No one plays her. She was pretty good on the testing server. That's all I know. Rampage. Boulder Throw. Less damage, less stun duration. You can no longer hit walls. You can no longer miss this ability and get fixed and hit people with it anyway. Projectile speed decreased, gravity decreased. So anytime you guys see gravity decrease, this generally means you can throw it a little bit farther. Projectile speed also decreased, though. A little less of a free rock every time you walk into a lane. Renna can now activate hover when she is knocked back by an explosive flower. Yeah, this is kind of annoying that you can't passive while you're after you take a blast cone. Kind of funny. Stupor, her E, a little bit less damage from the current HP damage. Explosion radius also decreased. You got to be a little more accurate with this now. Soulfire, damage decreased late game, but like you won't really notice this. Like 4 damage on a multi-hit ability at rank 5, like whatever, bro. Abyssal Rift, they finally did the thing that I said they should have done to nerf this character. Crazy how that works. Damage radius decreased. There were two changes that in my opinion, they should have made to this character instantly instead of nerfing all of her damage. And the two options were make her ult smaller or make her slow while she's using it. Right, like Sparrow slows herself when she ults, and Rena didn't. Right, you could either make Rena slow herself when she ults, or you could make her ult smaller. Those were the two changes. They made her ult smaller. Personally, I would say give her the damage back. I don't think that was I think the damage this ability did was fine. They fucking gutted the damage that Rena ult did last patch. The character's still good. But even now, people aren't playing her. She's not getting banned, and she's not getting picked every game in my ranked games, right? Like, I'm one of the few people who would pick Rena every game and win. Making her ult radius smaller, I think, is a good change, but my guess is that this character is going to be pretty bad this patch. That is just my guess, is that this character will be pretty bad, and that they will end up rebuffing her ult damage because they made it smaller. Revenant passive, you get a little bit less physical power, I believe, like total, right? What is this? 0.6 per level. It's like 9%-ish. No, this is a little more late game. They nerfed this. This is a little more power late game. So there you go. Quality of life. Basic attack animation timing improved to be more intuitive with the recovery time between shots. Okay. They changed Rev's animations. Cool. Obliterate. A little bit less damage from physical power. Epic. Scar. Root duration decreased a little bit. Hellfire rounds. His reload. His fourth shot move speed. A little bit less. Awesome. Richter. Less silence on his Q. Less damage on his E. It does get scaling increases. Like maybe they're trying to force Richter off lane, or make it good at least. Less move speed on his E, but this is pretty big. If you're like Fist of Riz, this is going to be a damage buff. Riplash, this is his hook, loses a bunch of base damage. Projectile speed decreased a little bit. This was one where we played a version of this where it was significantly slower. And I thought it felt fine. I played Richter once. I was figuring it out by the end of the game. But they sped it up a little bit. So this is a little bit slower than it is on live, but not insane. Sereth. Attack duration on her Q. So basically her Q still does 5 hits. It still does the same amount of damage. It just does that damage faster. So instead of 1.375 seconds to cast her Q, it's now 1 second. This is noticeable. You guys will be able to feel this one. Damage comes out hella fast. She pops out really quickly. Damage off of her jump and her right click slow duration decreased as well. This is a pretty big buff, honestly. I think this is a good change to Sereth. It will take some time to get used to. You guys will have to get used to how fast you have to react to Sereth coming out of her Q now. Sevarog, damage per soul on his siphon goes down, so just a little bit less free damage in his kit, right? Same with the HP scaling, right? He just gets a little bit less free damage in his kit. Root duration decreased. CC changes, right? Same thing. Dash damage decreased. Again, less free damage in his kit here. That matters a lot less, Tom, TBH. Because if you're using Sereth Q to react to an ability, then you're already dodging it, right? Like 1 second versus 1.4 doesn't matter if you're reacting to an ability to dodge with your Q. Shinbi, less damage on her passive. Very epic. Fixed an issue where line tempos, wolves could pass through enemies and not deal damage. Shinbi Ghost Wolf. Allegedly bug fixed. Circle Rhythm loses a little bit of damage late game. Very cool. Plasma Grenade. This is Skylar. Loses some base damage, gains some scaling. Loses quite a bit on the slow late game. Also a bit slower. Her Hyper Beam, a little bit less damage all around. Very cool. Her ult explosion radius goes down as well. Sparrow. What do we got? Hail of Arrows. Loses some base damage. Slow also now scales with ability level again. This is no longer 40% rank 1, which is a gross ability right now. Slow duration also decreased a little bit, which is good. Good changes. Piercing arrow loses some base damage, loses some damage multiplier. This character's pretty good right now. Gets played quite a bit. And they're just nerfing her down. Like, nerfing this slow change is big. The damage changes, like the damage change to right click matters. This damage change doesn't matter, but the slow duration and the slow power are good changes. Steel gets more cleave on his auto attacks. GG. It's over for everyone that's not Steel. Bull Rush loses base damage, loses scaling, but it gains HP scaling. So overall, this will be doing pretty similar damage. Late game, it's probably more damage than what it's doing right now. And it can also be cast midair. Good change. You can now hit a blast cone and dash away on Steel. You can now moon boots, Steel dash. It's a good change. Shield bash gets a damage increase. His ultimate also gets a bit of a damage increase. So Steel gets some buffs. Terra. Ruthless Assault. A little bit of a scaling decrease here. They've buffed this character like 5 patches in a row. They're nerfing her a little bit on this one. Her Q scaling decreases. Her E base damage decrease. Her dash. So these are a lot of numbers. It does less damage. Like the damage decreased, right? Bonus physical power scaling decreased. The max charge. This is so like if you're clicking this, you're tapping right click. This does less damage. If you're fully charging it, it should do more. It's also on a longer cooldown. Shield also scales with ability level. So they're kind of like, it's kind of like tank, like you'll have a little bit more tank stats on Terra, but you'll have less like you're losing damage on your Q and on your E. And if you're tapping this, you're losing damage, but you can get this fat shield earlier. It's just like a little bit of a change to make her maybe a little bit more like brawler-y, right? Like right now on Terra, you kind of have to pick when you go in really, really well, otherwise you're going to insta-die. This maybe makes her a little more brawly. Let her stand in the fight a little more, kind of more similar to Greystone. Faye. Her Q, increased cooldown, very cool. Her right click, a little bit more damage, but projectile speed. No, this is her E. Yeah, this is her E. More base damage, projectile speed decreased. This ability doesn't feel that bad. When you guys read a lot of these projectile speed changes, I don't know exactly what you guys are thinking. If your gut reaction is like, grr, they slowed down my projectiles, like that's going to feel bad. It doesn't. It feels different. But I like, in my opinion, this is the way I look at it, and this is probably just because I'm a Smite player, but it feels more rewarding when you hit an ability that's kind of hard to hit. Like when it's a little bit slower and people are trying to juke, when you hit it, it feels better. Right now, so this is the issue, right? This is why projectile speeds are being decreased in Pred. The issue is that in Predecessor, you don't juke abilities. You don't juke abilities in this game. You really don't. People miss, right? Like an ability like Faye E is a really good example. This is a fucking auto attack, bro. This is an instant ability. If the enemy doesn't hit you with it, it is because they didn't put their crosshair on you, right? That is the reason that they missed. It is not because you did something fucking crazy and juked it. You saw them throwing it and then you dodged to the side and it went past you. No, I mean, maybe you're doing this, right? Maybe you're just running back and forth. But the reason that they didn't hit you is because they missed, right? They didn't put their crosshair on you. And that's an issue in this game because it makes the game very like it's not and like things aren't reactable. You're not actually outplaying somebody. They just fucking whiffed. And by slowing these projectiles down, are you dodging Faye E on reaction now? Like, not really, I'll be honest. But like, it's better. You give more chances to outplay somebody. So they're good changes. That's just kind of like the reasoning behind it. Her right click gets a little bit of a range decrease. You just got to be a little closer to the wave. Small damage decrease, but that's fine. Her ultimate. This is an interesting change. So basically, the ult itself is pretty much the same. However, the delay before it pulls is significantly longer. It's a quarter of a second longer. But the range at which that it can pull, like how far away someone can be and still be pulled, is significantly farther, right? It's really far. It's auto attack range, right? So someone can be a full auto attack length away from your fly trap and still get pulled back, which means it will catch flash. That is the main interesting change here, is that if you dead center somebody with your ult and they flash, they're gonna get pulled. It's an interesting change. It will take getting used to. The pull is really slow. You guys will have to get used to how long it takes for the pull to go off. But I think it's a buff. Like, realistically, I do think this is a buff. It's a little goofy, but it is. I do think it makes it better, generally speaking. Twin Blast. So Twin Blast gets a passive change here. His passive is no longer use an ability, gain attack speed. His passive is now when you use an ability, your next auto attack fires 3 shots instead of 2 shots. And the triple shot does 135%, right? Instead of, 300% or whatever. What his normal autos is, a 50%, right? So 135 is like a little bit reduced damage. But you use an ability, you fire 3 shots, and then you use another one and you fire 3 more shots. It's good for burst damage. It's Lucian passive now, instead of discount Lucian passive. Overall buff, in my opinion. Vaporize, little less damage. Vortex grenades, a little bit less damage, a little bit more slow, but less slow duration. A little bit slower with a little less gravity, and a little bit bigger hitbox. Like on the nade itself. The hitbox on the nade, if you're direct hitting people, a little bit bigger. Explosion radius, a little bit smaller. And then his ult loses a little damage. Wraith. Projectile speed on his Q. So Wraith Q gets more gravity, less projectile speed, a little bit harder to hit at like really far ranges with this. Radius also decreased. You got to be a little more accurate. His E now gives his invis gives a little less move speed. And then his right click, a little bit less damage on snipe. Wukong. They changed Wukong a little bit here. On his Q, this is his red Q. Attack speed buff now has 60% pen scaling. So they're trying to force Wukong jungle, right? They already started with this when they took the minion damage off of his E. His E doesn't do full damage to lane minions. It only does full damage to jungle minions. They tried to force him into jungle. Now they're giving him pen scaling, which is really funny because Assassin Wukong is going to be real and it will be able to hurt you. Keep in mind that because if a Wukong is going an assassin build to do more damage, he will be squishy. And because he's squishy, you can actually kill him off of 1 CC. Like, one of the big issues with Wukong is that when Wukong is tanky, if Wukong is like Overlord Tainted Blade and he has fucking 18 billion HP, when you CC him, you can't kill him in 1 CC. And so then he fucking whoop, 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 and runs away, right? Now if he goes assassin and you CC him, he just fucking dies. So it is over again. I think the changes are fine. It looks really goofy, but high impact. This is his E, his slam down, his red E, slow duration decreased. Cycle breaker. This is another change to Wukong, right? This is another big change to Wukong. His blue E no longer blocks projectiles. It no longer blocks projectiles. So if Wukong walks up to you, he starts fucking channeling his stun, you click Narbash Thunk or whatever, right? And you just take him out of it. You can just cancel his stun now. It's very good. This is a good change. It gives him less damage mitt, but the damage mitt also has pen scaling on it. Stun duration decreased. It has a much faster windup though. But it no longer blocks projectiles. This is huge, bro. This just means that he doesn't have a second and a half of you can't hit me. Just big. Force push, less damage. This is red right click. Wind surge. This is his blue right click. Less slow, less damage. His passive, Wukong no longer gains additional hair stack upon damaging monsters when using the farmer augment. Cool. But yeah, they're just trying to force Wukong into like a more kind of aggressive playstyle rather than this kind of cancerous monkey build, 5,000 HP, take my jungle camps, fly away kind of shit. All right, Yin. Excuse me. Yin passive gets a buff. Her Windburn augment gets a nerf again. She loses 10% on her autos, not 5, which is notable. Lash kick, less base damage. Backlash, also less base damage. Quelling Gale, this is her ult, less slow. Very cool. Yurei. Her Q, less base damage. Very cool. The slow on her dash goes down by 0.3 seconds. Awesome. Her right click loses a little bit of damage per shot. Self-slow while channeling her ultimate is increased. The slow on her ultimate is just straight up removed. And now you cannot use crests while you're channeling. You can't use your dashes while you're channeling. Right now you can use pacifier and nex while you're in your ultimate. You won't be able to do those anymore. Which is kind of epic. These are good changes to Yuri. They're nerfs. This is another character I in my opinion, if I had to guess, if I just had to take a shot in the dark, probably not awesome next patch. Maybe still good in the off lane. But these are big nerfs to her ultimate. So, yeah. Zarus. Master of Spears augment. So, the spear throw cooldown modifier increased. I believe this is a buff. This happened last time that they were doing patch notes. I'm pretty sure this is a buff. This is one of those that I have no idea how I'm supposed to read this. Cooldown modifier increased from 1.3 to 1.5. I don't know what that means. I really don't. This could be a buff or a nerf. I'm honestly not sure. Means 1.5x the stab cooldown. It's a nerf. Okay, Ray. So right now it's the cooldown is 1.3x the stab, and it's going to 1.5x. So it's a little bit of a nerf. Okay. Without the AUG, it's 2x. Correct. Okay, so nerf to Xera's spear augment, nerf to his scaling augment as well. Barricade VFX now represents the bash damage area. I wonder who could have been saying that Zeus Q didn't match the animation from, I don't know, the day he came out, perhaps? Who got called crazy for saying that Zeus Q didn't match the animation for the last 2 years? Could not have been me. Bonus physical power scaling increase, so his stun does a little more damage, longer cooldown though. Evade is actually a good change. Using evade while airborne, this is his dash, now grants additional height, allowing Xera's to dash diagonally. So Xera's dash is fully directional now. So if you stand still and jump and then dash as Xera's, you'll go straight up, and it's really funny. It is really funny. If you're moving, you'll go more in a diagonal. But this is a good change. It's not crazy. This does not get you out of like Fangtooth Pit. It's not that high of a dash, but it is just an interesting little change where it gives him a little bit of this vertical mobility. Attack speed decreased. Very cool. Spear of Near loses some base damage, loses some scaling. Cooldown increased a little bit. Stab cooldown reduction increased, but throwing the spear now deals more damage. So throwing it does a little more damage. Coliseum wall visual is now better match its actual collision boundaries. Good change. Duration decreased by a full second is huge. Cage radius decreased by 20%, also huge. This is like a double-edged sword. You'll catch 2 people less often, but people can't walk away from you quite as far. Zinx. Passive healing increased. They make a change here. So basically, the right now on Zinx, her dot damage on her auto attacks is a passive on her heal on infuse. They're changing that to just be her passive, like be part of her auto attacks, or auto attacks do dot damage, rather than you have to max your right click to get more dot damage on your autos. It's just part of the kit now. Ricochet, her Q, does a little bit less damage, a little bit less stun duration. Bad Medicine, this is her E, her slow. Less mana cost, which actually kind of matters on Zinx, because you're a pretty mana-hungry character early game, but less damage. Infuse, more healing late game, pretty big, but a little bit less scaling on this as well. Items. Health pots got nerfed. Refillable potion and divine potion both got HP decreases, so you'll get less HP from popping your potions, which is a good change. Eviscerator, less damage, very cool. Liberator, a lot of crests, a lot of cleanses specifically are getting cooldown increases. This is up to 3 minutes now. I don't know why you would ever take this. I don't know why you would ever take the 3-minute cleanse cooldown. I really don't. Adrenalize bonus damage threshold decreased from 40 to 20. If you guys don't know, Pacifier does bonus damage if they're below 40%. And now that'll be 20%. Also, cooldown increase. You'll see a lot of these are getting the same change. These are both cleanses up to 165. Right, not quite up to 180 because we hate giving carries a cleanse, but 165 on these other cleanses, 165 on stasis as well. Tempest, overcharge, additional damage to single targets decreased. Very cool. Typhoon, Cyclone, attack speed per stack decreased. This item is kind of broken, I'm not going to lie, but Consort Crest. So I just had a strong support crests are getting gold increases because you get less, there's less gold drip and you get less gold for assisting on minion kills for being near minions when they die. Because of that, supports need a little bit of a boost to be able to keep up. They get a little bit more passive gold on their crest. So, yeah. Carry items. Ashbringer cost decreased. Yay. I love it when carry items get buffed. Movement speed on Dust Devil goes down. Equinox, more physical power. Bonus crit damage removed, but the shield is increased. So this is no longer like plus 5% true damage. This is now a normal carry item that has a shield when you get low. This is just shield bow now. Quiver, less damage on Quiver's multi-shot. Plasma Blade, less power. Rezo, a little bit less damage on resolution. Solaris, more power. Spectra, Radiant Strikes on hit damage decreased by 5. And the slow is removed. No. What will I do? Stormbreaker, momentum power scaling decreased a little bit less damage on Stormbreaker. Tainted Rounds, also a little less damage. Terminus, less power. Viper goes from 12% bonus to 8% bonus. They buffed this item like 3 patches in a row just to nerf it back down, just because they're nerfing the carry items. Assassin items. Envy, pen increased, but crit damage decreased. Those of you that don't know, Envy crits have like a significantly lower modifier because you can proc them on command. So this one is going way down. Infernum, less damage, more pen, a little bit less damage on Cinder as well. Nightfall, less healing. Omen, a little bit less scaling. This is damage on the Spellblade of Omen. This is a little bit less damage. Perforator, oh my god, bro, what a fucking nerf to Perforator. It goes from 25% slow to 10% slow. It's crazy. Like, is this item broken? Like, yeah, it sure is. But that is a crazy nerf. Painweaver, a little bit less movement speed. Deso, a little less power. Echo, you get less auto attacks on it, but the attack speed goes up. Back down to 2 autos, but goes up a little bit on attack speed. Fighter items. Gaia Greaves, a little bit less movement speed, and a little bit less power scaling. So a little less damage, a little less move speed. Omnivamp decreased on Mutilator, very cool. Overlord gets a nerf. Less damage on Overlord, a little less HP when you hit 100 stacks as well. Tainted Blade, less HP. Tyranny, less HP. Mage items, Combustion, huge buff to Combustion. Holy, plus 10 power to Combustion. Holy, we are going crazy. A little bit of nerf to this, but who cares? Plus 10 power. Golem's Gift, more physical armor, but less per stack. Magnify. This is, the scaling on Magnify is going down. Nobody cares. Noxia, price increase. Oathkeeper, a little less damage. Overseer, less damage. Prophecy, base damage increase, but scaling decrease. Cool. Magical power decreased from 80 to 70, but ability haste increased from 15 to 25. Interesting. This item might be buildable again. Tank items, Cuirass, less HP, but more armor. Flux Matrix, damage amp goes down. Stonewall, less HP, more armor. Tainted Bastion, less HP, more armor. Less HP, more armor. Support items, Cresselia, magical power decreased. This is an interesting little bug fix to Dynamo. Marshall, a little bit less damage on Marshall as well. And then bug fixes. I'm not going to go through these, but bug fixes. Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of nerfs, right? Like, as far as items go, pretty much all of the item changes are nerfs here. A couple of small buffs here, like it's like Solaris, like Combustion. But pretty much all nerfs for the items wise. And then for heroes, again, all the exact numbers are kind of whatever. All you really need to know is that early game, you'll do a little bit more damage. Late game, it should be pretty similar to what it is now. And laning phase actually matters. You can actually get leads now. And you actually have to remember to last hit your minions and stay in your lane and stuff like that. So it'll be a learning curve, right? Especially for just everyone. Like, I obviously played it a little bit on test server. So I have a little bit of an idea of what I'm getting into. But like for pretty much everyone, this is going to be a learning curve of a patch. Like, you guys will, you'll have to refigure out how to play the game. You know what I mean? There'll be some changes, just in terms of, like, you know, how do you play your lane? What characters are good? We'll figure all that kind of stuff out when the patch hits on Tuesday. So, be around for that. But yeah, patch looks good. Overall W or L patch, very W patch. This is a very good step in the right direction. Again, like I said at the beginning, right? In terms of like all of these changes, there's one very large issue with the game that has not been fixed, right? It's just the map. The map is the very root of all evils in this game, and they know that. And until the map gets fixed, a lot of this stuff is kind of band-aid fixes. They're fixing it for now. It is better. It will be better than it is currently, right? On Tuesday, it will be better than it is right now. But it's until we get a new map, it'll kind of be, the game will always have like these kind of weird sort of gross things to play against. Like, you know, fucking, I don't even know. The jungler's on 3 camp and they step into off lane, throw a rock and you die. or that you're in mid, but the jungler happens to be on their 2 camps, so you can never fight because otherwise you're dead. Stuff like that, right? Is this the map since day one? It is. Some people have a hard time adjusting to the patch. It's more punishing than before. I mean, I agree strongly, Ray. Yes. The patch is significantly more punishing than it was before. People, again, it will be an adjustment period. Again, in my opinion, a lot of these are just somewhat band-aid fixes because of the map that we have. When we get a new map, like, these kinds of changes would be fantastic. Like, for me, right, like, if I'm playing mid lane, do these changes make it so that I can actually box in my lane? Not really, bro. You know what I mean? Like, maybe level 1, 2, sure. But it's like, dude, if the jungler's on their 2 camp, they're literally 1 second out of mid lane. Like, it doesn't change the fact that the support can be in mid lane 4 seconds after leaving duo lane. You know what I mean? But it does increase the skill gap in the game. You're better than your lane opponent, you should have a lead. And that lead will be easier to acquire. Gonna get new top 5s for each role. Probably Danny. It'll take me a week or so after the patch. I gotta figure out what the patch is like.